It is my pleasure to present our honorary degree recipient and today's commencement speaker. Will Mary C. Daly please rise and remain standing? Father Fitzgerald, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, Mary C. Daly, President and CEO, Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Mary C. Daly, you are a visionary leader who uses your platform to lift others. As a brilliant economist and a leading authority on labor market dynamics, you decode complex fiscal issues into plain-spoken concepts to benefit real people. As an advocate for diversity in the workplace, you believe that working in the public service sector is not simply a job, but a choice that carries with it a great responsibility. In 2018, you were installed as president of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. You became a third woman to lead one of the nation's federal banks as president, and you feel that working in public service from that vantage point obligates you to see people clearly and act on what you see. As a leading voice for addressing the diversity crisis in economics profession and at the Federal Reserve, you first committed to increasing gender diversity among research assistants in your department. Within a year, you saw a more diverse applicant pool that has continued to yield high-caliber candidates. Since the initiative was launched, female-to-male ratio among research assistants has moved closer to 50-50. I'm an economist myself, so I know how impactful that is. Your leadership is rooted in your belief in 3D public service, which you define as the need for public servants to be fully human, vulnerable, compassionate, and pragmatic in their quest to find economic solutions. Your faith in the Federal Reserve's mission and in the role every employee plays in creating strong, stable economic conditions that allow people and businesses to prosper led you to the San Francisco Fed nearly 3 decades ago. You joined as an economist specializing in labor market dynamics and economic inequality, and have held a series of escalating roles since, including Executive Vice President and Director of Research. Your work highlights the significant economic benefits of reducing wage and employment gaps among demographic groups, and your outreach to external audiences has helped demystify key issues faced by policymakers. Your trajectory within the Federal Reserve reflects the grit you have displayed throughout your life. Family issues necessitated that you drop out of high school at 15 and go to work in a donut shop and a big box retailer. With the support of a mentor, you earned a GED and went on to college, which you had thought would be neither affordable nor accessible until your mentor generously paid for your first semester. You graduated from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, earned a master's degree in economics at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and a PhD in economics from Syracuse University. Your determination distinguishes you as a person who understands the catalytic effect of a college education. You consistently pay it forward by helping younger, underrepresented groups to enter the profession. That all may know of our great esteem for you as a brilliant economist who embraces the human factor intrinsic to public service, lifts others by fighting bias in the workplace, the university does. Therefore, confer upon you, Mary C. Daly, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privilege pertaining thereunto, given the 17th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 2024, and of the university, the 169th in San Francisco, California.
So if you can't tell when I'm sitting, I'm 5 feet, but I try to be powerful. So thank you so much, Dean Otko and Father Fitzgerald, for that, and everyone for, one, the invitation to speak here and the great honor of wearing this honorary doctoral. I have to say, the introduction made me blush, but the point that is the most important of that I really just feel thrilled that you mentioned, is that my life is one of service. And it's why when I was invited to give this graduation commencement and celebrate all of you, then I absolutely wanted to do it, because this is a university of service, where in service to others, as Shai said, is the best way to be a hero and to live a full and valuable life. So thank you, everyone here, for inviting me. Now, before I begin, I think it's really important to ask, how many of you graduating today were able to attend your high school graduation in person? Or how many were disrupted by the pandemic? Show me how many were disrupted by the pandemic who didn't go. Okay, folks, that's a lot. That's everyone, really. And what's important is that you're here today. You're here in front of all of us, with each other, celebrating in person, so your friends and family and faculty can see. And you are resilient. This is true. You've already proven that. And it's an honor to be here today to congratulate you. So please, everyone in the audience, let's give the graduates a big round of applause. You earned it. And to all the family, friends, faculty, everyone else who helped you along the way, thank you. You have done a tremendous service for all of us. Everyone in the communities these graduates will serve, everyone in the country you will live in the communities you will lift. So thank you. Now, I know when they were introducing me, you thought, oh great, I'm going to hear about finance and interest rates and economic models, but alas, you will not. I'm going to tell you something that is, I think, more important than that. I'm going to tell you two versions of a story, two versions of my story. It's actually one story told two ways. So here is version one, and you heard a bit of it a moment ago. When I was 15, I dropped out of high school to help support my family. I had odd jobs, and my goal was to be a bus driver because it paid union wages and had good benefits. But I got really lucky. I met a mentor, and she encouraged me to think bigger, beyond what I could see right in front of me. She encouraged me to get a GED and go to college. And so I did. I got a degree in economics and philosophy from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and I went on to get a PhD. In 1996, I came to California to take a job as a staff economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. And now, 28 years later, I'm standing in front of you as president and CEO of that very institution. Now, that story is completely true. It's actually meaningful to many people, and it's very comfortable for me to tell. But it's also incomplete. So let me try again and give you version 2. This time perhaps with a little more bravery. When I was 15, my family stumbled because of the economy. My siblings moved in with my grandparents, and I moved in with friends. I left high school, not really wanting to, but I did, and I got a job. I had 3 jobs, actually. I drove a donut truck, I worked at a deli, and I worked at Target. I wanted to be a bus driver so I could have 1 job instead of 3. I was struggling. So a friend introduced me to a woman named Betsy. And Betsy was kind, and she was practical. She encouraged me to get a GED. As it turns out, you can't be a bus driver without a GED. So I said yes. But when I went to take the test, I was nervous, terrified really. I hadn't been in school in 2 years. I kept sweating on my test paper and breaking my pencil lead. And all I could think about was failing. Disappointing Betsy, not being a bus driver, not being anything close to a success. And I wanted to leave, quit the test, walk out, and not come back. Now, fortunately, I didn't. And I'd like to tell you that with age and experience, all those fears of failing, disappointing, and changing course go away. But that's actually not how life works. After college, I went straight to graduate school at the University of Illinois. I didn't even think about it, I just went. I had graduated at the top of my class in economics, and it seemed expected, natural, to just go on. But after a year, I felt unsure. Unsure if I wanted a PhD, unsure if I wanted to be an economist, unsure if I wanted to be a researcher. Every day that I was in my classwork, I thought about changing. What if I did something different? Switching programs, getting a job, doing anything but what I'd signed up for. But frankly, the stakes seemed high. After all, the University of Illinois, where I was getting my PhD the first time, was Betsy's alma mater, my mentor's alma mater. My undergraduate professors had given me a party. They were so proud of me when I was following in their footsteps to get my PhD. And seemingly, every single one of my friends were confident, on track, and moving rapidly towards success. In that context, changing my mind, changing course, felt weighty, irreversible, definitely like going backwards. But I pivoted anyway. I moved to Chicago. I went to work for a theater and a dance company. I did accounting, business, and even some prop and set design, artistic things for them. And I loved it. I loved all of it. But about a year into my new life, I realized it wasn't quite perfect. I missed economics. I missed research and working with others to solve hard problems. I missed gathering evidence and evaluating it to inform policy. I missed everything about economics. Because as it turns out, economics was my calling. It was my vocation. And I wanted to go back. But that's where things felt really hard. I think that was one of the hardest points in my time. Because I needed help to get back in, and I needed it from the very same people, my professors, who had helped me the first time. And I'd already disappointed, or at least I thought that I had. So my heart pounded, literally, it was coming out of my chest as I dialed the phone. Gene Wagner, my undergraduate professor and mentor, answered. And I immediately just started blurting out my news. I stumbled through the explanation of how I changed my mind again. I apologized profusely, and then I waited. And I heard this rumbling of his voice before I heard him shout. And then he shouted, "Jane, come to the phone." They had 2 lines. "Mary wants to be an economist." And in that moment, all I could feel was relief. And he spent, with his wife Jane, the next hour talking to me. He told me that when he was finding his path, he also felt unsure. He actually never thought he could get a PhD. He worked construction, came from a working class family, and the whole idea of a PhD felt foreign. But he loved being an economist, loved the direct connection to people and to practice. And every day he went to work, he felt joy. And he knew that I would feel the same. That day, my professor, and someone I deeply admired and looked up to, told me version 2 of his story. And it changed me. And that's why today, on your graduation, I decided to share version 2 of my story with you. To tell you that I've been unsure, I've changed my mind, and I've thought many times I couldn't do it. But I have done it, and so can you. The truth is, as you leave this place and go on to what's next, no one you look up to, no one who does anything important in the world ever goes directly there smoothly. Everyone detours, doubts, and pivots. That is human and part of finding your way. It can be hard to know that when you think expectations are high and when all your friends seem to be surging forward. You feel like you're falling behind. But that's just noise, just noise. Your job as you move forward in your journey is to acknowledge the fears and the uncertainty and then listen. We all have a voice inside of ourselves telling us what's next, what's right for us. The challenge you will face is the one all of us face, everyone in this room, is to listen and hear that voice and be brave enough to follow its guidance. Because in the end, graduates, my friends, if I can call you that, there are no crooked paths, only your path. So be yourself, find your own way, and most importantly, be proud of your version 2. Because that's the story, your story, that will change lives and change worlds. You are ready. You have proven that. And I look so forward to seeing what you will do. Congratulations, class of 2024.